All right, so I'm going to show you guys exactly the process for placing raked units using adaptive generic models. So we'll do something kind of basic to start off, just a punched opening. So we'll go ahead and draw a wall using our WW curtain wall RO. Go ahead and make like just a 5-foot wide unit. There we are. Go ahead and switch over to our 3D view. Go ahead, you can adjust the height of it if you like to whatever height your unit's going to be. And then you go in and click on Edit Profile up here under Modify. And then let's just say that we have a raked head. So let's adjust this line to be 10 foot. And then something that will happen is if you just go ahead and drag your line down to this line, it won't really take to the shape. So instead, what you want to do is you want to take this and you can either drag it over and disassociate it with the constraints and say remove constraints, and then it allows you to place it. Or you can just go ahead, delete that top line, go ahead and create a new line, something like that. And then let's say, for example, this right jamb is also raked. So you go ahead and adjust this, say 4 feet, do the same thing, delete that line, go here, and draw your new line. So this would be the general shape of the unit we're going to be trying to make. So you say, okay, get out of that. And then what you do is you go ahead and place some caulk joints on your unit. So it's okay if you don't know exactly where your caulk joint sizes will be. These can kind of just be placeholders, but we'll make our best guess for now. So we'll go ahead and place a 1 1/4 on the right side, 1 1/4 on the left side, and go ahead and place 3/4 on top, and then your sill track on the bottom. So there we are, we got all our caulk joints in place. It's looking good so far. And then what we do is you go ahead, tab into that system panel. So you're just selecting the system panel. And then you would add in your W75 unit. So you're actually nesting a curtain wall within the curtain wall, just like that. Perfect. And then what we're going to do is going to place a horizontal. So in order to adjust the height of our horizontals on the adaptive units, we have to use a curtain grid. So you go into your curtain grid, you do all segments for this example, and then you zoom in, and this is going to be the height of the top of your horizontal. So what you want to do is you want to place this on the unit, and what you don't want to do is place it like this, whereas you can see on this right side, it's actually slicing into the caulk joint. You want to place it on the inside where it's not. So kind of like what we were doing with our old tech wall. So if you did it accidentally through the caulk joint, sometimes it's no big deal, but sometimes you'll get things like little spikes. I'll show you real quick. So something like that. So that's kind of an indicator that you placed your curtain grid incorrectly. So what you'd rather do is go ahead and place it just below the caulk joint so it doesn't get that spike. Back to the horizontal, so we're going to go ahead and place it within the caulk joint, like so. You see the height of our horizontal now, we can adjust. So let's just put it at 8 feet, let's say. So nice, making our way. So now what we do is you go in, select again one of these system panels. You'd right click, do select panels on host, selects both of these guys. And then we go ahead and switch it over to our WW rates panel. Where'd it go? Oh, it's right there. So you might be wondering why this insane offset and this weird thickness. Well, it makes it easier when you're going to place your unit, because as you'll see, sometimes the point placement wants to place it kind of on this back side or somewhere on the wall or somewhere other than this front face. But giving this panel this insane offset and this thickness kind of allows it not to want to click on the wall as much. And then also it makes it so it doesn't want to click on this back point. So it just makes it a lot easier to place your unit without having to scroll into the corner, place it, scroll into this corner and place it. But you'll see what I'm talking about in 1 second. So right, so we're good to go. Got our punched opening all laid out. So now we're going to load in our family. So we go to insert, load family. And we'll go to, right now these are located on my M drive, but soon on the S drive we'll have another folder called adaptive, and then all these subfolders underneath. So the first thing we're going to do is just load in what I'm calling an empty frame. So this is for placement purposes, and you'll see why I have 2 frames in just 1 moment. So you loaded that in, and now you'll be loading in your actual frame, the mullions, the glass, the back pans, the shadow boxes, all that good stuff. So these are labeled 2 light A for adaptive. So I'm going to load that guy in. Okay, nice. And now once those guys are loaded in, you go down to your generic models tab. You can see right here, we have the 2 light A, which is our frame with the mullions and the glass. Then we have 2 light empty frame A. So what we're going to do is we're going to place this 2 light empty frame first. So you're going to select this after you expand this box. Go ahead, drag it into your project. As you can see, we have something that's about a 4 light or 2 light here with 6 different points that we'll need to pick. So what you do is you hover over the front face of your system panel, go click, and we're always starting in the top left and going clockwise. Go click, you can kind of see it expanding. And then for the horizontals, you gotta click where you put that curtain grid. And then you kind of make your way just around the front face. And the key to this is just slow and steady. You know, not maybe not as slow as I'm going, but occasionally, as you can see here, it'll want to go back to that wall. But all you really have to do is just press tab once and it comes to the front. And then you do another click. And there your empty frame has been placed, as you can tell, because it prompts you with another one. So you're going to double escape out of that. Just press escape twice. Then you're going to go over and just click on one of the lines of the frame. It can be the middle, the top, the right, the bottom. It doesn't really matter, just as long as you're selecting it here. And then what you do is you go and you switch out your empty frame with the frame with all the parts. So there we are. As you can see, the transparency of this system panel's a little low, so it's a bit hard to see the actual frame right now. But then what we're going to do is we're going to again click on one of the system panels, do a right click, select panels on host. Then we're going to switch this over to empty. Where to go? Oh, it's right there, don't worry. So here we are, we got our frame in here. It's looking good, got the cock joints. And if you'd like to do something like adjust the horizontal, what I'd recommend is doing kind of a drag up like this, just to select that curtain grid, because sometimes it could be hard to tab into it. Go to filter, check none, get your curtain wall grid like that. And then you can do something like adjust the heights here. There it is, it adapts. Now you're thinking, well, verticals aren't necessary in this condition, just put some jams in there. So what we'll do is we'll load family. Go to your mullions. I'm just going to get capture jam left and a capture jam right. I'm going to open those guys up, load them into our project, and then come over here, and just like the G units, you can go ahead and switch them out. And now these families are unique to adaptives, so you can't use G mullions on these frames. But Alan had made a tool that's now being used that's going to be creating G units and adaptive families at the same time. So all you got to do is make sure that you're choosing things with the suffix of A, and you should be good to go. And then what you have to do is, instead of setting the elevation through the wall, instead what we have to do is just click on the unit and then set its elevation right here. So for example, I'll do PO for punched opening. Then you can do things like, change the glass wherever you want, and all that updates. So a lot of these are the same as the G units. We got the mullion offset. We'll punch it back. It'll do all sorts of things. We got the shadow box back pans. And again, these are unique to the adaptives. So just make sure you get the one with the suffix of A. And all those are going to be loaded in there nicely. And then for the top, let's just put a back pan in, for example. And that all updates. And just a quick demo. Let's say the architect comes back and everything's changed and you need to readjust how your frame looks. So let's say they did something drastic. They brought this guy way out here. They did something weird, I don't know. They're nuts. You press OK. And your whole frame is going to adjust to whatever shape you make your wall. So that's kind of the basics for punched openings, kind of the method for placing them, importing them, the idea behind the empty frames. I kind of show you why I chose to use empty frames rather than just placing the actual frame. So let's say we did something like this, just for example's sake. Scrape panel. Okay, so the reason why we have an empty frame, because as you saw before, you can just go in, click it around, nice and easy, nice and smooth, no problems here. But if you were to go ahead and do the same thing with your full frame with the units already in it, it's a bit painful. So it takes a while to load, you gotta wait for it to buffer, the graphics. I'm already over it. So I'm gonna click out of that, escape, and just never do that again because it's painful. But I'll make some more videos on different conditions such as strip window / curtain wall conditions, but all the units pretty much work in the same way. we have starting to build out a library, and I will see you in the next video.